So I have been given an opportunity to share reflections and thoughts of the path one can walk with worshipping the deity as part of your spiritual path. And India being a very ancient land, we continue here by the grace, by the divine grace, and by the presence of great many seers and sages. We endlessly continue to explore infinite ways and paths to the divine. It never ceases. And given that each of us are unique, and every single time we come back with unique possibilities, limitations, and challenges. This is at least the Sanatana Dharma view of coming back again and again, right? Because every single time we come back again and again, you might follow the same path, but every single time you make some sort of a realization inside, you have done something new at the same time. The old is same, but the same is new every single time. Because every single time you come with a unique combination of challenges and possibilities. So how can it be same? It can never be same. So given this infinite ways of exploring the path, on the spiritual path, one can say that, oh, I have been on the path of bhakti always. Yes, you are. But this time when you are, you're doing something else. So you're bringing something new to this path. So that's how there is infinite richness in pursuit of spiritual realizations, no matter what path. Given that in India we have explored the paths of meditating on the impersonal being, the paths of meditating on the personal being, path of deity, path of formlessness, path of form, all of that. And I playfully make this contention, saying that very few people out there who have realized the formless, but everybody is connected to the form because there are so many temples. India is length and breadth of India is stretched with the temples. And then I would also playfully, poke or provoke this thought. All the rituals are forms. You are dealing with the fire as a form, the wind with the form, or the breath with the form. The breath itself is something that is connecting the formlessness and the form. So my contention is that you cannot escape the form. Therefore, I'm just creating a rationale for today's talk because today's talk is going to be full of forms, about many forms, about countless forms of the divine, which is what in India we have cherished for aeons of worshipping the deities. And we are told right from our childhood that we have 3 crore deities, 3 crore godheads, Mukkoti Devata, we are called 3 crore deities. And never once we try to do, the fact check or validation of this or investigating, oh, is it so? Why? We just take it for granted. We said, yes, why not? What's the problem with this number? When we don't have problem with 1, why should we have a problem with 3 crore? So just take it. And even if we were to apply our too much of rationality and try to explore it that way, it is fun to do those kind of explorations, but it is also at the same time we know it's a trick of the reality to give you a sense of certitude which never was and never will be. Uh, these are my initial thoughts on this. Even from ancient Vedic times, we have had a cosmological view, um, where we have said there are several worlds, and we chant that as part of some of the very, very great mantras in which we define these worlds as Bhu, Bhuva, Suva. So that which has bhautika, materiality, and then that which has infinite, like multiplicity, and then there is union of all in absolute, incomprehensible, unfathomable, unified presence. It is only can be articulated in such kind of superlatives, but we know they fall short of any sense of certitude on this matter. But yet, the mantras themselves have encrypted this presence, and we have been encouraged and exhorted to contemplate on all these levels of the being cosmologically. And same is the case ontologically when we look at our composition of our being, our reality, our world. We look at ourselves in the most grossest presence in the form of the five elemental presence, which is earth, water, fire, wind, and ether. And um, these five elemental form is what is called as bhautika. Bhautika means these are the elements that come to adorn you with the gross physicality. This is the combination. This is what is called bhautika. This is the realm of the bhautika. So when we say embodied being, some extent, and I think this is what we are alluding to in one way, but not necessary. There are many, many beings which are embodied, not necessarily in this way. So therefore, they are not to be seen empirically through your sensorial perception. But they are embodied at the same time. So you cannot tell them. So from when we look at it from our perspective, we can say, oh, they are disembodied beings. But they look at it, they look at us from their perspective, they are grossly embodied beings. So this kind of a relativeness is also possible. Why not? We only always take a very anthropocentric view of everything, right? We are at the center, and then we are articulating about rest of the manifestation and cosmos with great certitude from these perceptions and all of that, not ascribing even a remote possibility of there could be perceptions of subtler levels. There could be beings and the presence which is even more subtler and embodied in a different way. And how uh, sure we are. Uh, and that's where the folly and the ignorance shrouds us immediately because of this certitude. Um, but the ancient seers were not so vehemently sure, because they were far more humble once they figured out the complexity of this reality. And they have given us means and methods and ways in which we can enter into relationship with this diverse presence, a rich diversity of presence of all great forces in this cosmos, in this ontological presence in a way, in the cosmic presence in a way. And they have given it us through the revelations of the Vedas have taught us this. The Tantra has taught us this. And various other ritual mechanisms and methods have taught us this. And this is to remind us to be in relationship with the elemental presence, which gives us the basis for our existence and living, by the way, which we take it for granted. We just step down from our bed and start walking so confidently in the morning, not realizing that the earth is supporting you one more time. And we just breathe uh, a pure air in the woods when we are taking a walk, without paying attention to the fact that the wind is nourishing you. And we are not full of gratitude to the fact that the sun has shown up once again up in the sky, brilliantly surging forth and lighting up our day once again. So, like this, our ignorance makes us take things for granted, which are immeasurably valuable. So, worshipping the deities and worshipping the forces has been so integral to our ancient cultures across, not just India. And this used to be the case everywhere. Yet, for some mysterious reasons that can be just simply named as divine grace, in India, it has sustained, perpetuated, evolved, adapted to the changing circumstances, and enriched itself infinitely as things move, as things were moving forward. Uh, as soon as there appeared a great innovation, technological innovation, we were not overwhelmed. Oh my God, now this proves something else which we were believing something else. No, we said, oh, the deity has manifested this way. Let us put a flower there to this innovation. Microscope, let us put a red dot on the microscope. Oh, telescope, let us put a flower to the telescope. Let us put an incense to the satellite. No problem. Because our belief is that all that what we claim as the new progress in the technological innovation is just playing out in the same elemental forces. And our relationship was not that one of the fear with these elemental forces, always knowing fully well that they are fully capable of modulating themselves in with the interplay of the mind that is ever evolving. So there is nothing to fear. So there is nothing to worry. We can enter confidently into relationships with the ever changing dynamics. And here, when it comes to the deities, Sri Aurobindo would say beautifully, oh, somebody asked Sri Aurobindo in their writings between Sri Aurobindo and in his disciples, there are exchanges of letters, and somebody was asking him, and nicely, subtly phrased, oh, India is such a great civilization, it has conceptualized these godheads in its vision. Sri Aurobindo said, no, no, godheads cannot be conceptualized. India was blessed with the seers who could raise up in their altitude of consciousness to a level where the revelation of these godheads was possible. And all that these seers have done is transcribed that vision into the forms of the mantra, into the forms of the yantra, which we will discuss subtly in some time. So all of this, that is what the seers have done and passed it on, for aeons. So therefore, he said, the one who sees the Godhead and the one who sees the mantra, they are called the drashtas. Drashtas means seer. They were seers. And here, there could be innumerable seers. There is no limitation on the seer. There could be infinite revelations. Obviously, when you are peering into the infinity, it could be infinite revelations, as simple as that. So there could be infinite revelations, and there could be revelations at your own level. You might not be a seer, I might not be a seer, which we know for sure that we are not. But still, despite our limitations and conditionings, we also have an aspiration to see the truth. Keep looking at the truth, not giving up the act of seeing. Increasingly figuring out the ways of unconditioned seeing, unhabituated seeing, transcending our limitations, the way we need to see. That comes from this Agna, where we were meditating and when we went into an infinite, vast space of seeing, where there is no bias, there is no dichotomy. So we, as the spiritual practitioners, can see. And the deities whom we worship can help us enable to enhance our seeing, enhance our perceiving, enhance our sensing, enhance our living process altogether. and make it completely charged with unconditionality, with vibrancy of the divine way of living. This possibility has been always held at the heart of the deity upasana, the deity worship for the spiritual transformation. In India, this was always within the ambit of possibility, and it was very deeply encouraged, primarily because you are infinite, I am also infinite, everybody is infinite, all the people beyond these screens sitting everywhere across are infinite. So if I ask you to start from infinity, we are clueless most often, right? Because infinity is there everywhere. But if we were to be asked to start from where we are, we have some sense and perception of what we are, and we can start from there. We can start from our longing, we can start from our aspiration, we can start from our desire, we can start from our fear, we can start from our sorrow, we can start from our suffering, we can start from our joy, we can start from many, many starting points, and for many lifetimes. There is no limitation on starting. Isn't that a beautiful possibility? So given every single time we have this uniqueness of composition of us, oh, this lifetime I have chosen the trauma as a beginning point for my start point. And probably the next lifetime, just utter curiosity. And probably some other lifetime, I might start from sense of awe. Why am I shifting from one lifetime to the other lifetime? Probably I will do multiple start lines in this lifetime. Once I will start from trauma, once I will start from awe, once I will start from surprise, once I will start from aspiration, once I will start from desire in this very lifetime. Why not? But each of those compositions are so unique to us as a being. I can say, oh, I really understand how you feel. But that's the best. I cannot feel like the way you feel. I cannot have the same quantum of tears, nor can I have the same throb of the joy. You are so unique, and I am so unique. So, this uniqueness gives us a window of an opportunity to look at this. Why should there be 3 crore deities? Because then we can find out our combination easily. Oh, who amongst this I get drawn to? So, in India and probably in other cultures too, there used to be this, practice. But even in India, it's very active even now. A child in their early age, once they have taken birth, um, they are left on the floor, and they are there are several objects that are put in front of them: book, a pen, matchstick. Who knows? They want to be activist and a revolutionary. Who knows? So all of that is put, and the child is allowed to crawl through gradually. And it is a matter of, no matter what great seer you are, child is more unpredictable than your cognizance, your capacity to cognize. There itself, our omniscience, omnipotence, and certitude is falling flat. No matter what a phenomenal psychologist you are who knows the whole directory of the patterns and the behaviors, at that juncture, you are standing in front of the greatest of the incertitudes of life. That is child. What is the child going to do next? Isn't it? So when the child is coming exactly at that point, and then child would touch a book, and the family would go like, oh wow, this is going to happen. This child is going to be a scholar out of that. But who knows? Child could be just a bookkeeping accountant later on. So there, your enthusiasm has gone completely. So know that aspect. But yet, once they see this, that the child has done something like this, they would immediately say, the first mantra that the child should learn is that of the goddess Saraswati, the one of the wisdom, the one of the knowledge. So the child should go through that process. We are looking at this affinity, the proclivity, the unique combination that is there, that is defining us. We are not telling all of that is unreal. We are not just disposing that off. This is all phenomenological. There is something so transcendental. There is something so foundationally, unified conscious. All that is there, but this is also there. That which is there as a unified consciousness is the one which is there in this diversity too. And it is not there in its fragments, it is not there in its incompleteness, it is there in its fractal completeness, full of presence, every single moment, and in every single act, and in every single deed, in every single aspect that they touch. So there is no conflict, at least from a perspective of, and amongst the infinite perspectives we have in Indian way of looking at things. So even ontologically, when we go more and more subtle from the elemental presence of our being to the five elements, to the organs of perception, to the organs of knowledge and cognition, to the aspect of mind, to the aspect of intellect, to the aspect of something phenomenally important called ego, and then to the aspects which are beyond ego. In all of this, this is the ontological way that we stack up our being. So, this is also one of the reasons while richly we contemplate, even in Indian terms, of the health and well being, what is the mental health, how to look at your psyche, and all of that infinitely. But we are constantly aware that there is something which is transcending psyche, which has the control on the psyche itself and the mind itself. Being aware of this higher force, higher presence, that is the causality of the psyche and the mind in itself, is a great relief. Otherwise, you will see the patterns and patterns of your mind and you will get overwhelmed and bogged down saying that, oh my God, how am I going to deal with it? You don't have to deal with it. There is already somebody who is dealing with it in you. So, this burden of doing the work, going back and lifting up all your psychological work upon your own shoulders, don't we don't have to do that. Just here he is. You have him beside you or the deity beside you. They are there to work with you and take care of many things. When you are feeling tired, the presence is there. When you're feeling overwhelmed, the presence is there. When you're feeling confused, the guidance is there. When you're feeling totally conflicted, there is some hand which is stretching out all ready to lift you up from the conundrum. That is the centrality of deity worship as a spiritual practice. It is in this rubrics, in this cauldron of being in the presence of this higher force with whom you have a natural proclivity, you look up to this presence and you look within for this presence and you look along with you for this presence. All side you are surrounded by this presence, no matter what is the conception of your directionality. Above, within, beside, at the back, in the front, always this presence is there. And during the time you feel playful, this presence can be like a child form, right on your altar, asking for a sweet, give me. And that sweet, you think, oh, I have to give him some sweet. He's asking for your troubles. Give me your troubles. And at this juncture, you know your limitation, that you don't know how to give your troubles. Because we have been trained through innumerable scientific ways that your troubles, you have to bear the burden. This has been made a complete conditionality in our mind. And here, this child form is sitting, asking, give me your trouble. And I'm sitting clueless with all this volcanic eruption in my heart. I don't know how to give my trouble in the hands of this deity. I'm sitting clueless. Nor do I know how to give my joy. So the deity worship teaches you how to give your troubles, how to offer your joy, at the same time, how to offer your accomplishments, not by taking all the credit. The deity demands, hey, you forgot, it is because of me you have done this. That reminder is such a fantastic reminder. It is a reminder that really pulls you out from infinite traps that were just around you, waiting to be clutching you. In that subtle form of the perception of the doership. So when there is an intimacy with the deity, the first thing that will get affected in us over a period of time of this sincere intimacy and the proximity which we intend to build up by showing up every single day is the sense of doership. And there is infinite possibility of shredding the weight of this doership. Don't ever think just by making just superficial one statement, oh, I am not the doer, it is my the guru who is the doer, it's my deity who is the doer. There is a huge distance between this surface verbiage versus the pure surrender that enshrines in your own heart. The distance needs to be covered. For that, you need to turn up and be in the presence of this deity every single day and every single moment without feeling overwhelmed or feeling totally um, insecure about, oh my God, is this some sort of subservience to a higher power? No, look how intimate the whole play is. It is for our own good that we are being asked to step beyond these limitations of doership, because it is this doership that we come with great number of plans of very deep work, even on the spiritual side. We just make everything too serious about the thing. There is enormous amount of presence of humor surrounding us, despite all the drama that is going on around the world. And the deity can just make you smile in absolutely impossible times by making you look at the shallowness of the play that is just unfolding in front of your eyes, and where you feel completely gutted on a day after day basis, completely bombarded instinctually, and completely um, stimulated with one news after the other. With deity's presence in your heart, it can be, you can just, I'm not saying you should smile through this, but you have a possibility of a humor also to look at the world. So this relatability can come when there is a personality, when there is a certain aspect of the presence, when there is a certain aspect of the feature. So this personalization of the infinite is where the deity comes into actively. And there is therefore, even in the greatest of the spiritual texts, such as, I won't even call it a spiritual text, I would just say that this is more like the words of Sri Krishna, the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. He would exhort even somebody, a great warrior like Arjuna, about having this sense of doership being offered to the divine, so that you are not tied up to the expectations and the results of your work, and make yourself unlimited every moment of your work, not in some distant future, accomplishing this as some sort of an enlightenment, but here and now on a day to day basis, you practice this by turning up and doing this relationship with the deity. That's where he says that all dharmas you follow, but all dharmas you offer to me, because I am the source of the dharma. That is a prolific statement coming from the ultimate form, Sri Krishna. So I would, and then this can play out in such so many beautiful ways, you see. Sri Aurobindo, if you go through Sri Aurobindo's philosophy and his words, and you would come across not so much as a worshipper of the deities. He is not exhorting you on the path of the worship of the deity, but neither is he, since it's an integral yoga, path of the integral yoga, he is not even eliminating that possibility. He says everything that needs to be integrated should be integrated. But at the end of the day, when he himself was almost not interested in spirituality, at the dawn of his spiritual path, when he just returned to India after his great colonial education, for years, and his parents and his father took absolute care that there should not be a strain of Indian worldview should enter his psyche, Sri Aurobindo's psyche. Just look what has happened to his life after he has come back to India. So just that's what I said. It never play with the incertitude of the child, because behind the child is hiding is the divine power, the divine being. So when Sri Aurobindo comes back and he is so enthusiastic to be a revolutionary and he wants to fight hard for freedom struggle of India, and then therefore as a utilitarian aspect he starts looking at the possibility of the divine power, can it be leveraged and used for the purpose of the revolutionary work? That is where his journey starts. So deity has a many tricking points to draw you into their ambit. It's not just, it need not be that, and they will make you feel like it is. And that's exactly the trick. The trick is when exactly you feel that it is my desire, and that's when you fall faster into the trap. It could be in the faster into the trap of the deity, also into the trap of your own shadows. This is the exact point where we fall either sides. But if we are doing the deity worship every single day and we still fall on the shadow side, we can turn up the next day and ask deity, what is the use of your presence in my life? We have that authority to ask that, because I turn up every single day in front of your altar. I show you the lamp. I show you the earth element by showing you, by putting some red powder to you. I show you the element of the sky by showering flowers on you. I show you the element of uh, the wind by showing you the incense, and I show you the element of the fire by showing you the lamp, and I show you the element of water by offering you some sweet. And all five elements every single day I'm turning up and offering to you so integrally. And so that here I'm making this statement before I get up from the bed and I close my eyes and think about you. Before touching the ground and the feet, I completely prostrate in full salutations, mentally asking the forgiveness of the Mother Earth that I am about to place my feet on you. Oh Mother, please bear with my follies, and let me walk the path of dharma. Let me walk the path of integrity. That is the blessing that I'm taking, and I'm turning up and I'm doing this. And then I continue to do all my rituals, and I take so much joy in adorning you so beautifully. I put this color of the cloth on you. I put this sweet that you like. Apparently, that is what I read in your text, that you like this sweet. So I have prepared this with so much earnest love. I am living in some corner of Western world where I don't get all these ingredients that easily, like how the Indian counterparts would get. Still, I made my preparations. I worked hard in my winters to save some flowers for you and freshness of the incense for you, and I still did that. And yet I fall in this shadow. What are you doing in my life? So this fight you can have. This fight you can have with the deity, and the deity would show up to you, and he will or she will twist your ear and say that, oh, you are saying that I'm not there in your life just because of your folly. This is so stupid of you. And then they would remind, who saved you here? What happened here? You thought that you would flunk possibly in your examination, but who saved you from that? So all these reminders, the divine reminders, the deity would come up with, right? So this is the intimacy with which you can live with the deity. So through this narration, I could probably tell you that how the worship happens, how you live with the deity, how you worship the deity, how you show up every single time, and how you make them your own, and how you surrender yourself to them, right? So all of this is possible, and a deep transformation takes place through this journey. and you enter into your own self, so many places that you have never visited in your own self, with great deal of confidence, that you have a presence along with you, not with a sense of fear, by just encountering those absolute phobias and irrational fears that have been haunting you, because you don't know where, from which lifetime they have come. They are all coming from subconscious realms. It's very easy that I can just say, oh, all this deep work needs is unite consciousness with unconsciousness and subconscious. It's so easy to make those statements, but we cannot be so sure that what book the child is going to pick up, and what certitudes, just because we are looking. And this is the last reflection I want to do this, because this pattern searching and thinking that we have figured out the ways of the mind, patterns and patterns, and just label this pattern as this particular phobia, that pattern as this particular flavor of narcissism, this particular thing as this particular some other deficit on the mental health issue or something like that. It's fairly easy to keep labeling them, but you keep labeling them, that which you are seeing is also playing with you at the same time. They will show up this pattern this time, the reality shows up this pattern this time, making you feel completely certitude about, oh, you have figured it all out. No. And how many patterns do you figure? There is infinity. You are peering into the infinity. There will be infinite patterns. How many more you will figure it out? At some point in time, you should know and you should feel that you need a grace, you need presence, you need wisdom, which is not within your ambit, that needs to show up at the right time. And this wisdom, when there is a torment, when there is some sort of an adversity, I equate it with, you have a huge door in your house. All that you need to stop it from falling back is a small hinge, just at the right place, and the mechanics, that. The wisdom is like that. Wisdom is big adversity is there. Wisdom is not huge wisdom. No. Wisdom is just knowing how to stop the movement of the adversity, just by placing the right attention at the right spot, at the right time, at the right moment. And this can come only because of the higher wisdom and the deities and the deity practice. And so this is where the ritual systems also, increasingly, when you do these ritual systems, when you make these elemental offerings, when you worship the deity in a particular way, they keep opening up these locks of inner wisdom that come and hold you at the right time, at the right moment, just when it is needed, not by your strategic planning, but because of your daily readiness and preparedness to tune yourself to this presence in your life. Right? So that is exactly is the reason that there are many ways of charging yourself up. And doing this, you visit the sacred spaces of the deity, what we call temples in India. We do the circumambulation around them, and we walk, and this is the way of looking at your relationship with the deity in infinite ways when you're walking around, again and again, again and again. And this happens in so many sacred spaces. And I recommend everybody always do that. And we go into that sacred river and take a dip in the presence of the deity and come completely washed out, unburdened, cleansed from so much that is blocking and clogging us. So these rituals are designed exactly in this way. Deity is not the confused owner. The deity is a far exceeding power with very subtle presence. So be tuned to them, right? With that, I take your leave. I will conclude here my reflection